Hey, what's going on? Daniel here. So, the concept of being a digital nomad started getting into the limelight, I would say, in the early 2000s. People like Tim Ferriss made it popular from the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, where it talked about his adventures, being able to build a business on the road. But for someone like me, I think the concept already existed in my head, even as a young boy living in Nigeria, but I just didn't have a word for it then. I knew I had this very curious, adventurous mind, and someday in the future, I would like to travel all around the world, meet people, live this life that I'm currently living right now. So when I wanted to begin that journey about 2 years ago, I wish there were some things that were on the internet that I could learn from rather than the general things that most digital nomads talk about, which is how to get the best flights, the best places to live, the best place to save money, and all of these things. While these things are very important, I think what I'm about to talk about in this video are just as important, maybe even more important than what you're watching right now if you are thinking about being a digital nomad. And these are the 4 pillars that I believe is going to help anyone get in the right frame of mind and also prepare to live the best life abroad and just get their minds ready for some of the challenges or some of the adventures, I would call it that lies ahead of them. And the 4 pillars are: 1, finances; mental health; social life; the last one would be logistical, which is travel restrictions if you're someone like myself. Now let's start with the first part. Most digital nomads that are online, don't really talk about the finances aspect of things, which is really the most important aspect of being a digital nomad. For a lot of us, from time immemorial, the lives that we're used to is you go to work, you work at a 9 to 5, you come back home, you do it all over again for as many years as possible. But being a digital nomad means that you don't get to live that conventional lifestyle. You get to live a different type of lifestyle, meaning you work on the road. If you have a job, it's going to be remote. If you have a business, you have to coordinate your business remotely across different time zones. And finances is going to be challenging if you don't have that in place. And one of the things that I always tell people before you get on the road, make sure you have your finances in order, because the challenges that come to you on the road, the solutions to those challenges is not going to be the same as if you're back home. If you're back home, you can run to your friends, your mom, your family, whoever, and just beg for help. But if you're on the road, nobody knows you. You're halfway across the world in a foreign land, in a different country, and it's going to be really tough. I was in a very similar situation about a year ago when I was running an online e-commerce business, and all of a sudden that business folded because my stores were shut down on different platforms that I was in due to various chargebacks and some quality control in the product that I was selling at the time. So I put a lot of money in it, and all of a sudden I woke up and I didn't have a dime to my name. I had to borrow money to fly back to the US and just get started all over again. This is not the same situation that you want to find yourself in. So I tell people before you get on the road, make sure you have some savings. If you're going to places like Latin America, make sure you have substantial amount of savings. I would say in some countries you can get by with $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Make sure you have at least 5 to 6 months of that. If you're trying to build a business, that is enough for you to bootstrap something and to get your business off the ground and start making some money. So before you get on the road, make sure you have your finances in order. Going broke while you're on the road is not the situation you want to find yourself in, so keep that in mind. Now let's talk about mental health, because a lot of people don't talk about this. When you look at the old picture, the old idea of being a digital nomad, it's all beautiful, it's all glitz and glam until something goes wrong. I was watching a video on YouTube the other day where this girl was talking about how she had some type of disease in Bali and she had to go back home and whatnot. And from that video, I could tell that this is the typical type of digital nomad that we see everywhere. They go to Bali, they take beautiful pictures in sunset, and everything just looks beautiful. That's the whole idea they're trying to sell. But the reality of it is, if you've done your research, you know that if you're going to Bali, there's going to be critters out there. You need to get vaccinated. You need to go with some bug spray and things like that. But from the video, she said she didn't talk about any of these things, and she went very quickly into depression, and she was feeling sad and crying. She essentially, felt that a digital nomad life was over and this lifestyle was not for her. And if you think about some of the things that, she mentioned in that video, it was just so apparent that this is the type of person who did not prepare. Being a digital nomad just took a very bad toll on her mental health within a very short period of time. So if you're looking to embark on this lifestyle, always keep in mind that things are not always going to be what you imagined they would be. It can be a lonely lifestyle if you're not very careful, but I always advise people to do in this case is to find genuinely the things that interest them, the places that they want to go to, and not just following the crowd and just, going by anything the article says or, what all this travel magazine tells you to do. Find your own path. Go to places that really genuinely excite you, and always prioritize the things that are important to you. And that's the only way to keep your mental health up, to make sure that you're mentally prepared for whatever is going to come. Of course, travel is what it is. Travel is going to be challenging. It's going to bring out the worst parts of us, and that is just the way it is. So you need to be prepared for that as well. Now let's talk about the next one, which is your social life. If you're traveling solo like myself, social life can be challenging to integrate with your work life, especially if you still work like I do. All of my clients are in the United States, from the Pacific time zone to Eastern time zone. So right now I'm in Central Europe. Sometimes I start working at 12 noon and I'm still doing it up until 10 p.m. at times, taking calls multiple times during the day. So the most important thing to do to get ahead of the schedule, to get everything in check, is to have solid time management. What I do in this case is that I try to schedule my calls into one pocket of my day, say between 12 noon and 3 p.m. or between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. So that way I know that once I'm at my computer, I am not going anywhere until I finish this calls. And some days I have so much work to do that even I'm able to finish those work between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. So that's 4 solid hours of work every single day. And I'm still able to go out at night and go out with friends that I meet here, get some drinks, have a solid social life. And before I start working, so I always say that, Europe is one of the perfect time zones to be in, because you're not too far away from, the United States if you have work there, and you can still have so much work done and still balance your social life as well. So the goal here is to have a solid time management skill and always be on top of whatever work you want to do. You cannot procrastinate, and you cannot just put things off and just hope that it's going to fix itself. You need to, be more proactive than most other people do. And that's how you have a balanced social life as a digital nomad once you're on the road. Now, finally, I need to talk about travel restrictions, because this is something that pertains to me personally, and it's affected me a lot, especially in my travels. As you know, I have a Nigerian passport. It's not the strongest passport in the world, and sometimes getting visas and access to places can be a nightmare. So if you are someone with a very weak passport, you need to plan ahead than most people do. If you have friends from the United States or from the Western world, from the EU, from Canada, that they have a disproportionate advantage when it comes to places they can travel to with visa access and travel restrictions. It's almost non-existent for them. But if you're like myself, you need to plan ahead. You need to think about ways through which you can maximize the time that you spend in the country. You have to pick countries that allow you visa free or visa on arrival. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind. So don't just think that being a digital nomad is the same for someone who's from the United States as someone who is from Colombia or someone who's from Haiti. It's not the same at all. So you need to plan ahead more than most people do, and always make sure that you are going to places that allows you to maximize your time there. For example, I'm in Albania right now. I can be here for up to 3 months at a time, even without needing the digital nomad visa. But of course, I still recommend that you get a nomad visa. If you come here and you like it, spend more than 3 months. So this is one of the things that I do, some of the approaches that I take in order to have a solid life, or still be able to enjoy my life as a digital nomad while traveling constantly. So I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, consider subscribing. Also, check out some of the links in the description where I talk about the banks that I use. It works in over 200 countries across the world. Health insurance from safe to wing, and some of the things that I talk about as well. If you haven't subscribed, do that right now. I'm watching you. Again, my name is Daniel, and I will see you in the next video.